Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the National Anthem of Australia.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I now present to you the Deputy Chancellor of Monash University, Dr. Christine Nixon, who will open this graduation ceremony.
Thank you. Graduands and guests, our guest speaker, Professor Paul Ramage, Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Vice President Global Engagement, Professor Abid Khan, Dean of the Faculty of Education, Professor John Lockwood, distinguished visitors, members of the faculty, it's my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the Council of Monash University to this, the 1020th graduation ceremony of Monash University, which is being performed on the country for which the Kulin Nation has been the traditional owners and custodians for many centuries. The university acknowledges their cultures and we pay our respects to elders past and present. I now call upon the Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Vice President, Global Engagement, Professor Abid Khan, to address the Assembly.
Madam Deputy Chancellor, members of the Monash University Council, our guest speaker, Professor Paul Ramage, graduates, colleagues and guests. Every Monash graduation ceremony is a special event in the university calendar, but today is even more so. Today we celebrate the graduation of our Australia Awards students. In addition to this, we celebrate the achievements of 33 doctoral candidates from 9 faculties of Monash University who are also graduating today. To everyone graduating, I offer my congratulations. The ceremony is formal. The rituals draw on centuries of practice in graduations, including particular elements that are special to Monash. Formality, however, doesn't signal a lack of enjoyment or passion. It serves to mark an occasion that joins each graduating student to the many who came before and those who will follow. The effort you have all made to reach this point deserves recognition. It deserves to be treated with a certain gravity and seriousness. It serves as an acknowledgement that today you join a line of graduates that dates back to not just Monash's first graduation ceremony in 1964, but to an academic tradition that begins with the University of Bologna in 1088. Today, the university certifies that you have acquired the analytical abilities, the deep knowledge of your fields, and the capabilities that a Monash degree implies. Valuable as those things are, we like to think that you have taken more away from this than your time here at Monash. We hope you have forged values that reflect the ones that this university holds dear. We hope that we have nurtured in you the love of discovery that is expressed in the university's motto, Ancora Imparo. Those words, attributed variously to Dante and Michelangelo, translate to, I am still learning, or I am still discovering. It is unlikely that you got here in the first place without a healthy intellectual curiosity, but your time here should have strengthened that curiosity and the determination to understand more of ourselves and the world. More importantly, it should have helped you recognize that the hunger for knowledge can be a powerful force for good in the world. It is a desire for discovery that has driven the university's great innovations, From the groundbreaking work in IVF that has helped thousands of people have children to the bionic eye that is now on the cusp of human trials. We also hope that your time here has shaped the nature and raised the level of your ambition, and in a way that reflects the level of ambition of the university itself. Monash is widely regarded as being one of the world's top 100 universities, a position it has reached in less than 60 years. But that is not where our ambition resides. A strong reputation should only ever be a byproduct of ambition. What is important is the scale and usefulness of the challenges we set ourselves. Monash is a comprehensive university, so those challenges are diverse. For the Faculty of Art, Design and Architecture, they involve generating provocative ideas, forms and transformative processes to address the human, environmental and economic issues that challenge us all. For the Faculty of Arts, it includes deepening our knowledge of ourselves and our societies and contributing to policy formation in areas as diverse as peace and security, culture and heritage, livable and sustainable environments, and social inclusion. For the Faculty of Business and Economics, they include researching how disease and conflict impact the living standards of future generations, designing healthcare, superannuation systems, and sanitation infrastructure in developing and industrialized countries, and designing environmental and trade strategies for sustainable growth. For the Faculty of Education, those challenges include leading research initiatives in STEM education, policy and practice, inclusive education, and early years education. For the Faculty of Engineering, they involve developing new solar cells for low-cost photovoltaic solar energy technologies, revolutionizing water management in cities across the globe, and researching lighter, stronger materials for aircraft to reduce fuel consumption and diminish their carbon footprint. For the Faculty of Information and Technology, they include research to help deaf children and their families communicate with each other, to help Australia's Indigenous communities to recover language and share their culture using 3D animation, and to predict fog at Melbourne Airport. For the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Science, they involve undertaking world-leading research in areas such as containing Ebola, fighting superbugs, and treating chronic heart disease. For the Faculty of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences, it includes building Australia's largest program in translational drug discovery, for drug delivery and development. And for the Faculty of Science, they include collaborating with institutions and industries across the world on projects such as the push to eliminate dengue fever, the creation of effective biosecurity controls to protect our ecosystems, and the development of artificial photosynthesis for the next generation of clean fuels. For you, who knows what form this will take? Implicit in all of these varied ambitions is the idea of service. The notion that the most notable end to which one can direct one's talents and efforts is to the greater good. As our namesake, the great Australian Sir John Monash once wrote, "Equip yourself for life, not solely for your own benefit, but for the benefit of the entire community." That does not mean that we expect every Monash graduate to discover life-saving vaccines or end global warming. But there should always be an awareness that the decisions you make and the actions you take in both your professional and personal lives have implications for all of us. From the advantages you gain from this education, there is always an opportunity to give something back to others. We also seek to inculcate in our students an openness to new ideas, to new perspectives and cultures. Australia Award students play an important role in this endeavour. Your education would not have succeeded were your opinions and preconceptions not challenged. The diversity of experience of your fellow students, as well as the ideas and experiences provided by your lecturers, should have sketched new horizons and new ways of understanding the world. It is this openness that has underpinned Monash's international focus. For example, Monash University played a prominent role in the Australian government's Colombo Plan, the forerunner of the current Australia Award Scholarship Program. These programs are responsible for educating students from across Asia, the Pacific, Latin America, and Africa, who have gone on to become leaders in the worlds of business, government, and the community. And whether your career takes you to Australia, Asia, Europe, Africa, or the Americas, when you meet employers, clients, and professional contacts, there is some chance you will meet another Monash graduate. You were educated in a university that has prepared you to work successfully in global teams, and this is very much the part of future, this is very much the future of employment. Our overseas campuses and alliances enable us to collaborate with others beyond Australia in research and problem solving that affects us all. They bring in great engagement with other organisations and industries that seek our graduates as well as our expertise of our researchers. They provide opportunities for our students along with the opportunities in Australia to learn within and outside of our campuses. The final value that I would like to invoke today is respect. You have been given the privilege of a wonderful education. You are all very able and blessed with the capacity to tackle academic tasks successfully. These are powerful advantages. Use them wisely. Be ethical, be honest. Aspire always to fairness and be generous with your time in your assessment of others and the credit you give them. By doing this, you will prove yourselves worthy of the investment that your families, the university and your community have made in you. Again, on behalf of the university, I offer my congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Khan, for that wonderful address and for, I think, having us all think through the breadth of the university and the way that we have grown and the impact we can have on the world. I now call upon the Deputy Vice-Chancellor and Vice-President Global Engagement, Professor Abid Khan, to pronounce the certification of the candidates.
Madam Chancellor, I certify to you and to the Council of Monash University that all candidates now to be presented and those others listed in your copy of the graduation programme have fulfilled the conditions prescribed by the Council of Monash University for admissions to the degrees and for the award of the diplomas indicated in the programme. Would all candidates for degrees and diplomas please stand?
Graduands, with the authority of Council, I admit you to the degrees and award the diplomas to which you are entitled. I also admit to the degrees and award the diplomas to which they are entitled those others who are absent today but are listed in my copy of the graduation program. Graduates, as you now are, this moment marks an important milestone in your lives. This ceremony is a visible culmination of your hard work and all of your commitment. Your achievements are outstanding, and you should always look back at this particular moment with a great deal of pride. I personally congratulate you, and I now ask the members of the audience to applaud your accomplishments.
Please be seated. I now call upon Professor John Loughran, Dean of the Faculty of Science.
Madam Deputy Chancellor, graduates from the Australia Awards Program and doctoral candidates from the Faculty of Art, Design and Architecture, Faculty of Arts, Faculty of Business and Economics, and the Faculty of Education will be presented to you today by Associate Professor Colin Givons, Course Director of the degree of Bachelor of Business in the Department of Marketing of the Faculty of Business and Economics.
Madam Deputy Chancellor, I present to you graduates from the Australia Awards Programme and doctoral graduates from the Faculty of Art, Design and Architecture, the Faculty of Arts, the Faculty of Business and Economics, and the Faculty of Education, who have been admitted to the following degrees and awarded the following diplomas today. From the Faculty of Arts, the Master of Environmental Management and Sustainability, Senemili Titikula Nakora. For the Master of International Development Practice, Riza Firstiyani. Syed Sabir Ali Shah. Radito Pramono Susilo. For the Master of International Sustainable Tourism Management, Helena. From the Faculty of Business and Economics, for the double degree of Master of European and International Studies and Master of International Business, Suk Kong Thong Vorafet. For the Master of Applied Finance, Le Nyok Dang. Nguyen Thi Huong Tan. For the Master of Diplomacy and Trade, Irma Rubina Sianipa. For the Master of Human Resource Management, Iriantho Halimawan. For the Master of Management, Miriam Camaso. For the Master of Public Policy and Management, Mohammed Amdan. Megawati. From the Faculty of Education, for the Master of Education, Nikki Daniel. Hendrik Johant Possuma. For the Master of Education in Digital Learning, Darius Mugudwo. For the Master of Education in Inclusive and Special Education, Yvonne Habala Kaluta. For the Master of TESOL, Nadia Amin. Kakali Chowdhury. Kosali Nimalika Herath. Sirwadane Aberatne Wasala Mudiyansalaje Mayuri Enoka Suriyampola. From the Faculty of Information Technology, for the Master of Business Information Systems, Pradana Wirabadi Aroman. Eko Susilo. From the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences, for the Graduate Diploma in Occupational and Environmental Health, Aminiasi Sivo Tavui. For the Master of Advanced Clinical Midwifery Practice, Le Quinn Chang Dai. For the Master of International Health, Mavis Ntombifuti Gininza. For the Master of Nursing, Beatrice May Banda. Maggie Dumsile Dlamini. For the Master of Nursing Practice, Mediatrix Ngebi Mbombo. For the Master of Nursing, Noor Fadila. For the Master of Occupational and Environmental Health, Linda Bucco. No? My apologies. For the Master of Nursing Practice, Mediatrix Ngebi Mbombo. For the Master of Occupational and Environmental Health, Linda Bucco. For the Master of Public Health, Barun Kumar Singh. From the Faculty of Art, Design and Architecture for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for research titled Culture and the Conversive Community, Framing Arts Policy for the 21st Century, Dr. Alistair Foster. From the Faculty of Arts for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for research titled Managing the Self-Social Tension, Digital Feminine Self-Production in an Intimate Public, Dr. Akane Kanai. For research titled Harmonizing Interaction in Media-Augmented Spaces, a semio-narrative investigation of rhythm and tension, Dr. Alessandro Marotta. From the Faculty of Business and Economics, for the Doctor of Philosophy, for research entitled How Emotions Affect Unplanned Buying Behavior, the Role of Valence and Arousal, Dr. Abed Abednia. For research titled Essays on Uncertainty and Risk Aversion, Dr. John Nkwoma Inekwe. For research titled Return Models and Dynamic Asset Allocation Strategies, Dr. Wianet Wen Shi. From the Faculty of Education, for the Doctor of Philosophy, for research titled Developing Safety Risk Intelligence, an analysis of effective safety education programs for children in early childhood settings, Dr. Sue-Ann O'Neill. Madam Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates from the Australia Awards Programme and doctoral graduates from the Faculty of Art, Design and Architecture, the Faculty of Arts, the Faculty of Business and Economics, and the Faculty of Education. I now call upon Professor Matthew Gillespie, Associate Dean Research Strategy of the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences, representing the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences.
Madam Deputy Chancellor, doctorate graduates from the Faculty of Engineering, the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences, the Faculty of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences, and the Faculty of Science will be presented to you by Professor Peter Betts, Associate Dean, Graduate Research of the Faculty of Science.
Madam Chancellor, I present to you the doctoral graduates from the Faculty of Engineering, the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences, the Faculty of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences, and the Faculty of Science, who have been admitted to the following degrees, awarded the following diplomas today. From the Faculty of Engineering, for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for research titled Structure Performance Correlations of Engineered Graphene-Based Materials for Water Treatment, Experimental and Theoretical Investigations, Dr. Philip Andrew Sheath. For research titled Mechanical Behaviour of TMZF Beta Titanium Alloy in Physiological Environments, Dr. Xuan Yuan Zhang. for research titled The Effect of Sensitization of 5 XXX Series Aluminium Alloys, Dr. Rui Feng Zhang. From the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences for the degree of Doctor of Medicine, for research titled Prognostic and Predictive Significance of the Cancer Stem Cell Markers in Lung and Breast Cancers, Dr. Mohammed Alamgir. For the degree of Doctor of Psychology and Clinical Psychology, for research titled Siblings of Adolescents with Anorexia Nervosa, Dr. Tanya van Langensberg. For research titled Interpersonal Style and the Therapeutic Alliance in Sexual Offender Treatment, Dr. Rachel Watson. For research titled Investigating the Relationship Between Comorbid Headache Disorder and Depression, Dr. Alex William Winder. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for research titled Understanding the Mechanisms Underlying the Neuroprotective Role of Calorie Restriction in Parkinson's Disease, Dr. Jacqueline Elise Bayliss. For research titled A Genome-Wide Gene Overexpression Screen for Mitophagy Mutants in the Yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae, Dr. Giuseppe Andrea Lucarelli. For research titled Rural Outreach by Specialist Doctors in Australia, Dr. Belinda Gabrielle O'Sullivan. For research titled Exploring the Link Between Mental Health and Functional Gastroenteritis Disorders, Dr. Simone Louise Peters. For research titled Structural Aspects of Pore-Forming Protein Perforin, Dr. Cyril Florent Riboul. For research titled Macrophage Mineralocorticoid Receptor Regulate Cardiac Remodeling and Blood Pressure, Dr. Jimmy Zhen Long Shen. For research titled Human Amnion Epithelial Cells Modulate Immunological Responses to Mediate Repair of Lung Injury, Dr. Tan Jean Ling. For research titled Language, Culture and Approaches to Studying Towards a More Comprehensive 3P Model, a cross-cultural study of the 3P model in university students, Dr. Matthew Keen Shui Tong. From the Faculty of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for research titled The Development of Fluorescent Opiate Ligands, Dr. Luke Stephen Shembry. For research titled Nanostructures Across Oppositely Charged Surfactant Polymer Interfaces, Dr. Christian Joy Tangso. from the Faculty of Science for the award of the Doctor of Philosophy degree for research titled Cerium-Based Oxides as Oxygen-Selective Sorbents, Dr. Anita Marie D'Angelo. For research titled Measurement of Atmospheric Volatile Organic Compounds with Proton Transfer Reaction Mass Spectrometry, Dr. Erin Dunn. For research titled Identifying Injury-Causing Hazards in Fitness Facilities, Dr. Shannon Elise Gray. For research titled Aspects of Locally Compact Quantum Groups, Dr. Zohra Haradirad. For research titled Will Nitrogen Limitation and High Carbon Dioxide Concentrations Impact Upon the Sinking Velocity of Phytoplankton, Dr. Amanda Elaine Manfolk. For research titled Electro-Generated Hydrogen Peroxide and Fuel Cells, Dr. Kieran James MacDonald Worth. For research titled Optimizing Delivery of Oral Plant-Made Vaccines, Dr. Robert Pearson Shepherd. For research titled Static Spherical Symmetric Electrovac Brans-Dix Spacetimes, Dr. Maya Watanabe. For research titled Biochar Amendments to Agricultural Soils, the Potential for Soil Physiochemical Improvement and Carbon Sequestration, Dr. Romy Lillian Zingia. Madam Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of the doctoral graduates from the Faculty of Engineering, the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences, the Faculty of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences, and the Faculty of Science.
Thank you. It's always a wonderful occasion to see the enormous range of talent and skills and areas that our graduates investigate. We now, though, have a lovely opportunity to hear from one of our very talented musicians from the Sir Selwyn Cowan School of Music. Please welcome Mr. Ziggy Johnson to the ceremony, who will perform Capriccio Arab by Francisco Torrega. Thank you. Thank you, Ziggy, for that wonderful performance. We now move to the graduation address, which gives us an opportunity to hear from a distinguished member of the Monash community. And we're very fortunate today. The address will be given by Professor Paul Ramage. Professor Ramage is the Vice-Chancellor's Professorial Fellow at Monash University and the inaugural Director of the Australian-Indonesian Centre. He has a passion for leadership, soft diplomacy, innovation, cross-cultural dialogue, and, of course, for the Australian-Indonesian relationship. The Australian-Indonesian Centre involves a unique research network and works to find solutions to shared national challenges. Current collaborative research involves infrastructure, health and medicine, resilience communities, and food and agriculture. Professor Ramage joined Monash University in 2012 after a high-profile career in the media as the editor-in-chief of the Age newspaper. I now have much pleasure in inviting Professor Paul Ramage to deliver the graduation address.
Madam Deputy Chancellor, Dr. Christine Nixon, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Professor Abid Khan, other leading members of Monash's academic and student community, families and friends, and of course, our newly adorned graduates. It is an honour to be invited to speak to you on such a special occasion, a day when we come together to celebrate the achievements of a new batch of Monash's higher degree students. Graduates, we bow to you and we acknowledge the focus and the commitment you have clearly shown to earn these great honours. You inspire us and you remind us of the thrill of learning. To repurpose an Eleanor Roosevelt saying, the future belongs to you because you believed in the beauty of your dreams. To those of you who have come through the Australia Awards program, can I please say, on behalf of the university and as someone engaged in international research collaborations, how so proud we are of your achievements and efforts. You are among a new generation of global leaders. Today, as all of you embark on the next stage of your careers, I've been asked to share some lessons about life. No small request. As you heard, I'm a Vice-Chancellor's Professorial Fellow at Monash and I'm the inaugural Director of a centre focused on Australia-Indonesia relationships. Some people still know me as a former Editor-in-Chief of The Age. Now today, for reasons that will immediately not be so obvious, I'd like to begin by sharing 3 short stories about everyday life. Each story comes from within my immediate circle of friends and colleagues. Each story was told to me in the past 10 days. Now, unfortunately, the first story begins with a death. An executive I know is travelling to Northern Asia when he receives a text message. A close friend in Britain has had a heart attack. Can he come immediately? The executive changes his plans and gets the first flight to the UK. Now, I've never been comfortable in drawing attention to someone's faith, but in this case it's relevant. The executive is of the Islamic faith. So is his close friend, who dies, sadly, within days. And so it is that in the most unexpected and tragic of ways, during the holy fasting season of Ramadan, the executive, having travelled halfway across the world, finds himself in a mosque of his childhood, sharing stories about a lost life, as Islamic custom dictates, for 3 days with family and friends. Now, it is customary for an Islamic community to provide food for a grieving family for the first few days of the mourning period, and this occurred. Friends also took turns looking after the family, caring for them in broader ways. What surprised the executive was the way in which other people of the Islamic faith, people he had never met, also volunteered to look after the family. Story number 2 is about a birthday, a 70th birthday. The special day was celebrated on August 14, Bastille Day, although my friend was born a long way from France, in Sumatra, Indonesia. He also, coincidentally, grew up with the Islamic faith, although these days there are times when secularity rules. My friend, the newly minted septuagenarian, gives the impression to me quite often that he has always liked parties and celebrations. However, on this August 14, something else happens. He sends packages of food and gifts to 25 children in an orphanage in Yogyakarta. And he sends me an email. It says, "Please, pray for me." Story number 3 is about a divorce. The divorce, like so many divorces, involves children. It also involves grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and close friends. One half of the couple that was decides, guided by a strong sense of values and the emotional strength to put the children first, to try to hold the family connections together, even though the family itself has irreversibly changed. The other half's new partner and parents will be invited to family gatherings. Special moments for the children will be shared and cherished by all. This reshaped and reconfigured set of relationships will survive and flourish with understanding, empathy, and care. Now, on one level, these 3 stories are very different. One about death, one about a birthday, another about divorce. On another level, they are the same. They each tell a story about values, leadership, emotional intelligence, and morality. In each story, individuals put others' needs before their own. In each story, we are reminded about the simple art of giving. Over the past week or so, I've been reflecting about these stories. How often in today's super-fast, connected and plugged-in world do we hear of such deeds? When was the last time you cooked and washed for a family grieving the loss of a loved one? How many times do you give when you feel you have a right to receive? How often do we put other people first? Now, by the way, relax. This is not going to be a sermon. I raise this theme and I raise these questions because I actually stand before a learned audience. Graduates, you are no longer commoners. You are among the privileged few. You are educated, smart, trained to deal with complexity, trained to think, trained to be leaders in your fields. You are graduates of a university that prides itself on the maxim of its namesake, Sir John Monash. Equip yourself for life, not solely for your own benefit, but for the benefit of the whole community. What will, for the benefit of the whole community, mean for you? How well equipped do you feel for this challenge? How will you give to others who are less fortunate? Now, it wouldn't surprise me if some of you are thinking, who is this guy? We've been studying for years, we want to get jobs, we want to go on to our postdoctoral work, we would like to earn some money, and actually, quite frankly, we like to receive the benefits of our education. I understand. And many a philosopher would agree. You must live in the present, launch yourself on every wave, find your eternity in every moment. So said 19th century essayist Henry David Thoreau. The challenge, of course, is that life produces many tricky, uncertain, and at times dangerous waves. Put another way, life has many potholes and bumps, and the frequency of the holes and the bumps, created by forces, I would argue, well beyond us, seems to be increasing. You are, dear graduates, rising in a world of climate fears, digital disruption, cyber risks, food and water shortages, ageing populations, big data controls and efficiencies, robotic surprises, and self-monitoring health systems. You are already part of the connected generation. You are moving towards becoming part of the uber-connected generation. How will you set your moral compass? My self-inflicted task today is to share, ever so humbly, some things I've learned about why a moral compass matters. Again, in recent weeks, and perhaps as a portent for this address, I've been dusting off and going over some of the writings of some great thinkers. My pile of bedside books, heaven forbid, some from my days from undergraduate politics, others newly purchased, includes Homer, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, St. Augustine, and a just purchased slim title. And the title is, Every Time I Find the Meaning of Life, They Change It, by the author Daniel Klein. Now, this Daniel Klein fellow seems to know a thing or two about values, morality, and lessons about leading a good life. He has been studying and writing about philosophy for all of his life. 40-odd years ago, while studying at university and searching in the obligatory way for guidance on how to live the best life he could, Klein collects short stories from great thinkers like Epicurus, Machiavelli, Jean-Paul Sartre, and Friedrich Nietzsche, and jots down some of his own pithy thoughts on each quote. And he keeps jotting down quotes and reactions until he's the age of 30, when he literally puts the notepad away. He has a life to begin. Now in his 70s, Klein revisits the words from the great thinkers, dissects them, calls out the utilitarian value, adds insights from contemporary writers like Hume and Singer, and with humour and honesty, he reveals what he's learnt. Lots of thinkers still disappoint him. Machiavelli is, unsurprisingly, the ethicist of bad. But other thinkers excite Klein. Viktor Frankl, who famously said, "Live as if you were living a second time, and as though you had acted wrongly the first time," gives Klein a tool for revving up my imagination, for getting me to dream up a better way to live. And Klein lists one quote as definitely a keeper. He says, "If there's a single lesson I want to carry with me to my final day, this is the one." He is referring to the advice of Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, who said, "Do every act of life as though it were the very last act of your life." Now, my favourite passage from the book is different. Perhaps because it really forced me to think about what generosity means. It's from the ancient text of Hebrew rules and laws, the Talmud, and it's an interpretation by a medieval scholar which lays out 8 levels of charity from the lowest to the highest. And the levels are: 1, giving begrudgingly; 2, giving less than you should, but giving it cheerfully; 3, giving after being asked; 4, giving before being asked; 5, giving when you do not know the recipient's identity, but the recipient knows your identity; 6, giving when you know the recipient's identity, but the recipient does not know your identity; 7, giving when neither party knows the other's identity; 8, enabling the recipient to become self-reliant. Now, the Talmud, just like the everyday stories I shared about a death, a birthday, and a divorce, once again reminds us and calls on us to give, and give freely, rather than to receive. So I do need to ask you, of course, how will you give, and how will you use your education to give? It's a tough question, but it's part of the challenge of being brave enough to ask the question of yourself. And so obviously I have to be brave and say, here's a few things I've learnt. And I would say this: I offer them as someone who has not mastered these goals, but as someone who aspires to master them. Learn to listen. Talking can be fun, listening can be much more rewarding. Seek and value the opinions of others. As a smart leader once said to me, I never say to myself, I am the smartest person in the room, but I do let people know that I have to make the smartest decisions. Develop self-awareness. Learn to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. If you know yourself, your strengths and weaknesses, your motives and your desires, then you will be better placed to help others. Be a mentor. Use your skills to teach and improve the skills of others. Be a coach. You can manage an individual or a team, or you can coach them. Coaching is about personal and organisational growth, creating future leaders in any field, in any pursuit. My hope, my desire for you is that you learn to coach with Socratic sure-footedness. Develop cultural skills. Today's graduation ceremony is just such a glorious thing, given the community before me, representing the world. This world is becoming a smaller place thanks to 24/7 travel and instant communication. Cross-cultural skills are vitally important. Immerse yourself in cultures. Read widely. A few books that changed the way I think are On China by Henry Kissinger, When Cultures Collide by Richard D. Lewis, The Path, A New Way to Think About Everything by Michael Puett and Christine Groslow, and unusually, Monsoon by Robert Kaplan. Just 4 in many. Look back to go forwards. History contains the lessons. Great thinking is not date-stamped. Learn to show judgment. The world is complex, life is complex. Strive to be logical, perceptive, and wise. Celebrate your mistakes. Everything you hear about mistakes is right. Real learning begins here. Be kind and generous. Once again, the lessons are there across centuries and across cultures. Maintain your passion for learning. Aristotle was right. The more you know, the more you don't know. Working in Indonesia has reminded me just how much I don't know. Lead in the service of others. Self-centred, egocentric leadership really deserves to be in the waste paper bin. Embrace change. You move with the times or you fall behind. Get used to change, embrace it, make change work for you. Lastly, continue to dream. Be brave. Break the mould. Do things that others haven't done. Aim high. Go for gold. I'd like to end and I'd like to share some of what I think has been the most thoughtful advice I've ever received, and it's quite unusual in a way. The lesson came from a fellow called David Kirk. He's a former CEO of a media company called Fairfax, and he was the skipper of New Zealand's All Blacks when they won the inaugural Rugby World Cup in 1987. Two of the questions he asked me during an interview to become editor-in-chief of The Age are gems, although, and I must be quite clear about this, at the time, I really didn't think so when he asked them of me. The questions are these. Tell me a time when facing a critical issue and you moved too fast in dealing with it. What was the issue? What were the consequences? And what did you learn from it? And naturally, consequently, the second question is, tell me a time when facing a critical issue, you moved too slow in dealing with it. What was the issue? What were the consequences? And what did you learn from it? Can I thank you?
Thank you, Paul, for sharing wisdom and wise words and also thoughts about giving, which I think is fitting for today. We now come to the conclusion of this occasion. Graduates, as you leave the ceremony, remember that you are not leaving the university, no matter how far you may move away from this place and this time. As the alumni of the university, you are joined to the university and to each other by a link that cannot be broken, and we very much hope will be strongly maintained. I urge you to keep in contact with the university alumni group. The alumni page in your copy of the graduation program is a guide to what we have to share with you wherever you may be. In congratulating you upon your achievements, I particularly want to acknowledge the contribution that your lecturers, supervisors, tutors, and the professional staff of the university have made to ensuring your presence here today. It is not always possible to give public recognition for their hard work and their dedication, but I would ask you now, the graduates, to take this opportunity to show them your appreciation by a round of applause. Thank you. I know that university study is not easy. During your many years of research and learning, you've had to cope with the stresses of examinations and assignments and combine study with outside work and family obligations. Throughout this time, you're encouraged and supported by parents and husbands, wives, partners, brothers, sisters, graduates, guardians, and friends. To acknowledge their contribution, I now invite the graduates to stand and to turn and express your gratitude by a round of applause. Thank you. Please stand. Thank you. Please be seated. I now cordially invite everyone to continue the celebrations by joining me in the foyer for refreshments. Graduates, I invite you to join the procession as the official party leaves the hall, and I ask members of the audience to remain standing at their seats until all graduates have left the hall. This ceremony is now at an end. Thank you.